Yo, Marcus Gerber here. How's it going? Wait a minute. How do you know Tesla shares about to dilute? I haven't heard anything about that on the news. And wait a minute, what are Tesla dividends? And you're about to lose them? Are you confused yet? Well, let's find out and I'll explain exactly what I'm talking about. Let's jump into this. If you like this video, then let's be redundant and like the video. And then if you want more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it. It's free to do. Let's get into this. So what are Tesla dividends? So Tesla dividends, which I like to call them dividends, are my Tesla convertible bonds. And if you want to learn more about Tesla convertible bonds, I made a video right here. Check them out. So why is it that my Tesla dividends are about to go away? And what's up with this dilution of Tesla shares happening potentially next month? So I got an alert from E-Trade recently, and this alert told me that I need to contact E-Trade pretty soon, before next month, if I want to convert my Tesla convertible bonds. So my first thought was like, wait a minute, why do I have to convert my bonds yet? This matures in 2024. We're not anywhere close to 2024. So I went ahead and called the number that told me to call, and I talked to the representative, and then they told me that they can help me. So I need to talk to the fixed income security folks. So they told me the number there, directed me over there. I called them, and then they told me that, wait a minute, you want to convert your bonds? We can't help you with that. You have to talk to our cat. Okay, not actually a cat. The corporate actions team, CAT. Okay, so then I was like, okay, corporate action team. All right, seriously, I need to talk to a corporate action team for my convertible bond? I just want to say that I just want to convert my bonds. I just want to select yes. And can I do this online by myself? And the answer was no. Anyway, they put me through the corporate actions team, aka their cat. So then when I finally talked to the cat, I was like, yo, I thought I had like 4 more years as president before I had to drop these bonds. And then he was like, you see, the problem is that Tesla wants to convert them now. And then I'm like, why am I even talking like this? So they told me, when I asked them, next month is pretty soon. Like, do I have to really convert this now? Why can't I wait? I have like 4 more years before I have to convert them. And then they were like, Tesla actually wants to convert them sooner. And I was like, okay, I guess that makes perfect sense, since the stock price is well above the price where they would convert at 309 and change at a conversion per unit, and per unit is per $1,000 for bonds at a 3.2276 conversion. So I was like, okay, that makes sense that they want to do that. They can just skip ahead and not have to pay folks interest every 6 months. And so I was paid interest twice during this time period. And so I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense. That means I'm going to get the shares potentially as soon as next month, by the time I have to put this action to convert the bonds. So basically that action date is required by June 26th, 2020. So that's next month. So next month I might get my shares converted, because I told them that I absolutely want to convert my bonds into shares, regardless of if this is going to happen now, even though I'll be really sad that I won't have my Tesla dividends, I like to call them, anymore. But Tesla shares are like the second best thing since buttered toast. So I'll just take the shares. And so the thing is, though, I asked him a few more questions about this. I was like, okay, so okay, just want to put all my ducks in a line. And then he actually told me that, and I'll read this here, that a holder's right to convert securities into common stock is subject to the company's right to elect to pay cash, or a combination of cash and stock. And so the reason for this is that, first of all, the most obvious reason is that there's a fraction of shares involved. For example, if someone had 1 unit or $1,000, they would get 3.2276 shares. They're probably not going to give you the fraction of the shares. So they're probably going to give you 3 shares, and they'll give you 0.2276 of the cost basis of 309 and change. So that's what they're probably going to do for however many units they have, times that by the 3.2276 shares, and then I'll get the shares plus the fraction in probably cash. And that's my most likely scenario that I would expect. It is possible from reading this, and he reiterated this to me, the representative, that it's possible they just give me cash. And so that would kind of suck. But it's very unlikely they just would give me cash, just because it's for the benefit of Tesla. They want to keep all the cash on hand possible, and it's to their benefit to just give the shares. So I expect fully that that's what's going to end up happening. I'll get the shares, and then the change of the fractional, they'll give me the cash. So I'll see a combination of shares and some cash in my account when this happens, probably next month. I'm expecting around the time of this, when this was due. So we'll see if that happens next month on June 26th. And so I expect to see that happen. But why the dilution? So actually, if this happens, then they give me the shares. That means they're giving a lot of bondholders Tesla stock. And that's going to dilute the existing shares for current shareholders. So you're going to have less ownership of the company because there's going to be more shares in circulation. Does that really matter? Is that going to impact the stock price? I don't think it's going to really impact the stock price. I think that's already kind of baked in. It's already known that this is going to happen. It's interesting, though, that most people think that's probably going to happen on a later date. And no one really knows that this is like happening next month. So it could have some material effect. I don't think it is. And I'm one that really thinks that dilution, especially if you're in a strong position, isn't going to impact the shares of Tesla. But although these shares were issued at a time where Tesla was at a weak point and at a very low price, unlike recently where they had an offering where Tesla was at near all-time highs, which actually sent the stock going even further up, I think, for when they announced that, because that was a really smart financial move. So this bond buying process was a big learning experience for me. I mean, first of all, it's my first bond that I ever bought, and I had to pay the fee to buy a bond, and I also had to pay a tender share for cash fee of $38. Well, I mean, they're going to take that out of my account whenever this happens, but basically they're going to charge me that $38 for converting the bonds into shares whenever Tesla does that. So that's an interesting thing that I didn't expect to see, which is completely fine, and it's just a learning experience all in all, just how convertible bonds work, how bonds work themselves, coupons, all these kind of things. If you want to learn more about bonds and how that world works, I talk about and discuss all of that in my Tesla convertible bond video. So check that out, learn a bit about bonds, learn a bit about what Tesla convertible bonds are. Really interesting stuff, and really cool animations and cool things in that video. Check it out. Okay. So what do you think about the dilution of Tesla shares, especially for you shareholders out there? Are you worried about the dilution of shares? Are you not worried about that at all? Well, let me know in the comments below, and really appreciate you guys watching this, and hope you guys enjoyed this, learned something new, and see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. What am I going to do with all my Tesla convertible bonds and my Tesla dividends? Maybe I should call back the cat guy right now, and so I can revert my choice to keep the principal and just get that interest every 6 months. Snap out of it. Tesla shares are awesome.